We'll call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we've all had a chance to take a look at the regular board meeting minutes from February 27th. Any corrections? Then I will accept a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from the regular board meeting February 27th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Then we'll move on to our approval of the general fund vouchers 74,404 through 74,416. Wire transfers 1617035 through 1617020, and activity fund vouchers 2659 through 2716. I will.
Wire transfers is 305, not 35 on the first number.
305. Good catch. Okay.
Then I do make a motion to approve.
Beautiful. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the general fund vouchers as listed with Nettie's correction. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to our public comments. I didn't see anybody signed in when I came in. Does anybody have anything they want to share with us? Okay, then we'll move on to our Spotlight in Education, our wrestler state qualifiers.
Okay, I'd like to, as a superintendent, it's been an exciting last couple months, both academic and athletics. And one thing that I'd like to highlight is the wrestling team. We had 5 individuals down at the state meet. Can I get you fellas to stand up? So we had at 106 Ryan Anderson, 113 Corey Engelbritsen, 138. They switched their weights on me. Nick Zemp, 145 Gabe Colbeth, and then 220 Noah Mazurek. And we had 2 on the podium this year, but all the wrestlers really wrestled well and represented the district extremely well. Corey ended up taking a third down at 113, and Noah made the finals and ended up as a runner-up at 220. So huge. Congratulations to these fellas. They went down there. Not only down at the state meet did they represent us well, but throughout the entire season, and then the postseason really wrestled well down there and represented the district well. So my hats off to you guys. Congratulations. Very proud of you guys.
And if I could, Josh, last night I got to go to the banquet, the wrestling banquet, and you can't even put it into words. That was the best banquet, Darren, that you and Nikki, that you guys have ever put together. That I've ever been to. Getting to sit with you guys, I'm a basketball player. I've never been really in the wrestling circle, but last night while you guys were doing the banquet and how you ran it, Darren, it was like peeking into the wrestling room and Mr. Goff was coaching. And not only that, back when we had our football team and we took numerous conference championships, and when Mr. Air was our coach, it was that same Clear Lake pride that just resonated throughout that. It touched my heart, and it was awesome. So hats off to your program, Darren, and the way that you're handling our youth.
Yeah. I'd like to follow that up with, too, the wrestling team was a breath away from qualifying for the sectional as a team as well. We hosted regionals here. I think I mentioned that the last meeting, I think so. But I ended up, it's the first time we ever hosted, and coming down, I'd actually called WIA because we had a tie, which I'd never seen before, and come and find out WIA has never had that happen as well in any division. So that's how close it was, and I think we were in the lead for a while, and we were within a couple points, and it was back and forth between 3-4 teams. So that was also fun to be a part of and watch that the entire team represent our district. So congratulations on your season, you guys.
Good. Looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
What grades are y'all in?
all but one coming back.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Good job.
Well, thanks, you guys.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No, you guys got to stay for the whole meeting. Yeah, if you guys want to take off, thank you.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
About half of them are going to baseball practice now.
Yep. All right, then we'll move on to our new business then. Approval of the spring coaches.
Okay. So I gave you a list of all of the spring coaches: girls track, boys track, softball, golf, baseball, and then junior high track listed coaches. I believe the only change is the interim, which was already board approved, the girls track position.
Okay.
So this would need a motion for approval.
Okay. Do I hear that motion?
I will move to accept the spring coaching staff roster as listed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the spring coach roster as listed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll, next item of business is an FMLA leave. Just one, Josh, or two?
No, next is the
Cross country team.
Oh, shoot. Okay. We'll move back on the agenda to the approval of a cross-country team.
Okay, so last year, myself, Mr. Gillis, and Mr. Rosine were approached with the idea of getting a cross-country team going in the district. One of our teachers at the elementary school came and met with us and proposed this. And I said, well, I don't want to jump into something right away, so let's kind of do our homework. And I met with the superintendent group in the CISA. Mr. Gillis met with the principal CISA group, and then Mr. Rosine met with the AD CISA group. And I just asked them to, all three of us asked the same questions, who's been through this before, what pitfalls, what pros, cons, just kind of all those type of questions. And the consensus was that there's more positives than negatives, one more opportunity for the individuals in the district to be a part of. So at this point, we're at the early stages, the infancy stages of getting the cross-country team going. So at this point, I'm just seeking board approval to move forward with the cross-country team. We've already got it WIA approved, which doesn't mean anything except for if the board decides to move forward with it, then we can move forward. We're already set up on WIA side of things, and then hopefully we'll have enough interest where we can have a team for next fall.
Who would they compete against? Like even Amory and?
Yeah, next year would be kind of a modge podge of who we would compete. We decided we wouldn't host anything. We would just compete in a couple events. That hasn't all been ironed out yet, but we would pretty much get whoever we could kind of hop in on just to try to see if we can get some excitement for boys and girls. So it could be any, big school, small school. We don't really know. We have not really started down that road yet. But typically, teams pull out, and we just try to sneak our ways into different tournaments.
How many are needed? You just said if we get enough.
We don't have like a magic number at this point. We're just going to see how many kids are interested, and if it's enough to say.
I think when they run, is it at 5? They use 5?
If I don't know exactly what to compete with as far as a WIA team in tournaments, but we're more talking like in-house, and not that 10's the magic number, but that's kind of what we're hoping for, is get 10 kids. Yep.
Has there been an interest survey or any? Just are they going to do that more with track once that gets started?
Yep.
Full swing.
Yeah, I don't
want
want
to be interested.
Yep. We're pretty sure Christy Niles is going to be heading that up. I don't want to speak, but that's who's kind of approached us and we've been talking with. So hopefully we'll have some interest through the track program as at least our distance runners.
Nice.
So, and she's hopeful.
Yep.
So do you need a motion for approval to continue?
We would need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we move forward.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we move forward on our cross-country team. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And now we'll move on to the approval of our FMLA leave.
Okay, we do have something in the water here in Clear Lake, but as of right now, we just have one official FMLA leave. Kim Torgerson, our speech and language pathologist, has requested FMLA leave for the end of this school year in May, and then also continuing into next fall.
Okay, then I will accept a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I will second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the FML leave for Kim Torgerson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to our approval of Board Policy 413.
So DPI requires, I believe it's every 8 years. I've been working on a non-discrimination self-evaluation, it's called, and just make sure that we're compliant within the district. And there's been a couple things, kind of checklists that we've had to do within the district. One of them is to get a board policy regarding homeless children. If you look through it, the board policy is really majority of it is state statute. So it's ultimately it would be the first reading of policy 413 really would only say that it's our policy saying that we're going to follow state statute, which kind of sounds goofy, but it's what DPI is requiring. So everything in there is, most of what's in there is not my verbiage, it's state statute. And what we have to do in order to be compliant, what our role is, definitions, rights of homeless students, identification, and kind of the last page is more what we do as a district, what we're already doing as a district, because we legally have to. So I don't expect you to read the entire thing. But
And McKinney-Vento is a federal.
it's
so
a
there's
federal
that.
law, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is our homeless liaison?
Technically, I am.
Okay.
And then the counselors as well.
Okay.
Within one in each district.
And this is just a first reading.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we don't need approval of it tonight.
Or do you have to do a first reading?
I was going to ask the same thing. Do we need to do a first reading if it's a pretty much statute and we just have to accept it?
Well, that's kind of what we do with all of our...
It's been, and I don't know the exact rules, but it's whenever we do a board policy,
Sure.
we always bring it up, put it in the, make it a first reading, and then approve it on the second meeting. To give,
In case the public...
a chance to read it. And
Sure.
Is that available on the website then?
I will be.
Because
yeah.
our board policies still aren't on the website.
Yeah, so if you look at what I'm doing is I've been going through all the policies. If you look at the top, how it looks kind of different.
Mhm.
Every one I go through, I'm formatting to look this way, and then they're all going to be PDFs on our website, so they'll look a little bit cleaner. There's definitely some policies that we need to,
Mhm.
I think, go through or like immediately. One, there's a couple, but that we could kind of slowly go through and change up. So, but they will all be on there and look a little bit cleaner, and then there'll be individual links on there.
Okay.
All right, then we'll move on to our superintendent notes. Mr. Joshua Ernst.
Okay. Like I said, a lot of stuff in the district going on, both athletics, co-curriculars. So it's been a fun time for administration right now. Busy time, but a fun time. Like we talked about the wrestling crew, qualifying 5 down to state, and I got to go down there and watch those individuals compete, and that was really a fun experience. I did that last year as well, and our boys really wrestled extremely well. And I was not only impressed with that, but I was impressed at how well our community travels. I don't know this for sure, but it sure as heck felt like we had about a third of the Division III population was in blue and cheering for Clear Lake. I mean, there was 3-4 different sections of Clear Lake, so that was really neat. And then also with the basketball, we had boys were seeded number 2, which means we had a lot of home games. We hosted the boys basketball regional first round game with a win on the 28th. Then we hosted the regional boys basketball round 2 with a win in overtime that was really an electric gym. And then we also hosted the boys basketball sectionals first round game, which I've been told was some say it could have been the state finals game. It was certainly, a lot of individuals felt like it was the game that would have qualified to go to state because of the feelings that they were the 2 best teams on that side. And that's something I don't think those kids will ever forget. Even with a loss, it was a very fun game to be a part of, and they were within 2 points at the end, and they have nothing to hang their head about. It was a lot of fun to watch, but ended up losing, but had a great season. The spring sports begin, baseball and track and softball going on right now, so that's all started. We had, like I said, we'll have a lot of spotlight on education next meeting, and then the following meeting we have I think 10 to 15 individuals in FCCLA that qualified for state. We had 10 individuals in the VAC art visual arts competition qualify for state, so they'll be sharing out as far as how both those groups and activities do down at state. So did a really nice job in their qualifier. And then we have junior high spring concert tonight in the gym, and then early release in service tomorrow. So a half day for the kids, and then the second half is professional development for our staff. So, yeah.
A lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of kids sick around both buildings, so we have a lot of different things going around as well. So I'm sure it's a lot of late nights, and with the weather changes as well. So, but mostly good stuff.
Okay. Well, thanks, Josh. Now we'll move on to our future agenda items. If anybody's got anything that they want to talk about putting on a future agenda.
I've got a couple things. Do you?
Yeah. You just mentioned in-service, and I think I've heard maybe the principals talk about it before. Is it possible for us to get I think you said a pre-list of what you want to hit with in-services throughout the year? Would it be
like
possible
agenda?
to see that? Yeah.
Sure.
Like what you're training on these in-service days or half days, or I get a lot of questions from parents like, what are they really doing on these half days? So it might be good just to have a little feedback on that. And you mentioned policy handbook. I think the Rice Lake workshop we went to, they kind of talked about maybe your 2 meetings a month, the first one being business and the second one working on projects or whatever. Is that maybe something we can do to start looking at this policy manual? I know it's been a topic for a long time. So and I don't feel like, Josh, you need to redo the policy manual. I think we need to. We need to do that. So maybe look at first meeting business, second meeting, even if it's summer, I don't know when the downtime is, to say, let's plug this policy manual out. Let's really pick a section and tackle it. And just
we've talked about that a number of times. Let's
Would there be members of the board that would want to form a committee, a policy committee, that can maybe tackle some of that legwork up front?
There's probably policies we're missing. There's probably policies we need to review.
Mm-hmm. Whereas like the policy committee can get together and clean up a couple of policies for a meeting and bring them in and say, this is what we recommend. That might make it a little more streamlined.
Or different committees could take different sections. 2 people take this part, and
sure.
2 people take this part, but maybe we could look at it and maybe divvy it up next time, or see how we can
I like
roll
the
on
idea
it.
of committees rather than all of us at a meeting time. Yeah.
Well, let's put that on the agenda, then we'll talk about that at the next meeting and get some momentum built up. Josh mentioned he's got
We
a few
might want
that
to
he
wait
wants
till after the
to.
election, because we'll have a new member.
We're out to, not a month out?
Yeah, we're not too far out. We can kind of.
Maybe put together a kind of a schedule and then plug people in once we. Yeah.
And one more thing.
Yep.
Thinking about grades for our students, and we see testing results, whatever the random math thing, but is it possible through Skyward to give us a summary each quarter of first grade? These are the students A, B, C, D, F, so we can see, you know, is there a high percentage of our kids C and below? Or, I mean, how can we see
You're
how our
talking
kids are
about your
doing
individual-
academically?
Are you
Pardon?
talking about all kids or your kids?
No.
All
like
kids, right?
first grade.
Okay.
What kids, what percentage are getting D and Fs? Third grade, what percentage is getting, can Skyward give us like a percentage by grade?
Yeah, we can definitely pull that from Skyward.
I just would like to see, you know, how our students beyond SAT or whatever are doing on their.
And to be honest, even bigger picture than that, we've been working with, just started working with Chris Stratton, who's at CISA. I'm bringing her in to looking at standards-based grading, hopefully for next year, if not the following year, of just kind of introducing that. And it's a little bit of a painful process for
Okay.
staff to go through, but I think it's needed, and I think it's a really good thing. And there's definitely at the elementary, there's some requesting it, which is nice because it's in the best interest.
Because we all can go look at Skyward and see each grade that our students are getting per assignment. I would love to see a consensus for like 5th graders or whatever.
Snapshot.
A snapshot of how our 10th graders are doing. Or
We do the DNF list for sure. We do with the entire staff to look at who's missing what, and I think that kind of was birthed out of that RAP period.
I'm not sure we can pull it without names, though. We'll have to check on that.
Okay. So.
But maybe you guys could look at names and just give us percentages or something. I don't
Possible,
want to create a huge project out of it, but it would be nice to see overall how our students are doing.
And you can get a fairly good picture. I mean, if we look at A and B honor roll, we can see that, you know, over 50% of almost every grade is at that level.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I'm like, can I look at DPI or where can I go to see this?
It's, you know, in the paper and in the reports and stuff, the A and B honor roll all the time.
Or in the paper,
So, yeah.
right.
So,
Posted in the hall
you-
debate office.
yeah, so you can pretty quickly do the math on some of that and go, yeah, you know, more than half our kids are doing better than, are doing A or B work on average. But,
And we
yeah.
want to start the conversation of what does an A, what does that even mean? What does an A work mean? What does a B work mean? Like, what standards are those tied to? So it's a road that we're going down next year, and we've started the in-service process for bringing a gal in for hopefully 3 half days to do some of that work. So did you have anything else?
One more.
You did.
It's- Sorry. I've heard rumors, and I don't know if this is the place to start that, but Amory is giving up their valedictorian and salutatorian because of not being able to classify grades. Is that something Clear Lake would think about? And that's a total rumor. I've been asked
What
by
are they
2
doing?
people. Not having valedictorians, salutatorians anymore.
Because of why?
They
Because
don't grade, I don't think they grade by points anymore.
Right.
So it's hard to judge who's doing better. Yeah, or else.
And I didn't realize that. I'm just like, I didn't understand what they were saying, but is that something that would affect us?
At this point, no.
They must have just changed their grading process.
Yes.
Okay. Which must impact that.
So it's not anything connected to what we're doing?
No.
I'm just like, oh,
No.
I've not heard that we're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have on there the approval of the policy 413, approval of some youth options applications, or at least review of those applications, and then you guys determine if you want to approve or deny those. Review of the non-discrimination self-evaluation. It's due April 1st, so I'll be done with it for this next for the 27th meeting. Approval of the CISA 11 shared contract, which is always approved at this time, and then review of upcoming election, which has always been past practice at this time.
Can we look at coming up with a different evaluation for the administration?
For me?
Yeah, besides the one we've been using for the last.
It's funny you say that. I kind of took it upon myself to look at some stuff after this last one, so I should have it ready for all of us to look at next week.
Okay, good.
Great.
Our next meeting? Yeah.
Is there a way we can include teachers, staff, parents, the rest of the community, so we can all get input from everyone as to how they feel that you're doing? Can we include that in that?
I mean, I've expressed my opinion on it. I think it's going to be tough to do, if you get information from individuals that I'm directly, in charge of evaluating. I mean, it could be, I don't know.
Well, maybe what we should do is put that on as an agenda item for our next meeting and encompass that into that conversation then too.
Yeah. Because, we only get a snapshot of the 2 hours we're here with you. And,
Is it good though, the snapshot?
well,
No, just kidding.
Only because I'm in the background.
Good
but the more
lady.
input, the more information we have from the community, and the more we get from teachers and kids and parents, that's, it affects all the stakeholders.
Yeah, and I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying, if I ask Nick, Mr. Gillis, if I ask Mr. Gillis for his feedback on
Well, I would
how-
assume this would all be confidential.
Sure.
People don't have to fear of repercussions.
Yeah, let's do that. Mr. Gillis, have you ever had a student look at you after he gets a poor grade and say, well, what does it even mean?
No. No. I've always tried to be very clear in my grading, so they knew why they earned what they earned.
Okay. Any other future agenda items?
That's all I have.
That's a lot.
Yeah. All right. Then we'll move on to our contemplated closed session. You guys, thanks for coming in. Tonight, in accordance to WSS 19.85 1C, considering employment compensation or performance data of any public employee over which governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Employment compensation and performance of an employee. I will poll the board. Nettie?
Yes.
Clint? Yes. Myself, yes. Peter?
Yes.
David? All right. We are in closed session. All right, we're back in open session. I will entertain a motion.
To do what, Greg?
To accept the performance evaluation summary.
With the additions.
Oh, yeah, with the additions of Dave's 3 points and adding board president after my name.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the performance evaluation of our superintendent, Mr. Joshua Ernst. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. And now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.